Hello, hello, hello. Again, it's me, back again. On the same day, I think. I think it actually is the same day. May not be. Anyway, this is just a little quickie, I think. I hope so. And judging by what the title should be, you might be able to guess what this one's about. So I should be able to get through this pretty quick. I just like for historical, as a historical observation. Back in way back in the month was here, XML, and on April the 7th, which is over a month ago, you may recall that I added that open source little XML lib to my box of tools. And then a few days later, the next week, I said, okay, it's time to augment the toolbox, add some more tools to the toolbox, which I did. One of the things I added was this view control thing, which has a lot of features now, and it'll do more things in the future. One thing I added, just today, I guess it was, is a tree control. And if you recall, I added a map class, an associative map class, and that led to some interesting thoughts about associative arrays and hash functions. Then we looked at MSC files. Oh, and then I added a radio button control. And so I've been adding all these tools, and you might think that, and you probably do, like most people do, that it's really kind of a waste of time. Whatever it is you're doing, there's no point in making a new tool. Just get it done and go home. But really, it does eventually come to pass that the tools reach a bit of a critical stage, and suddenly you find yourself being able to make new things very easily and very quickly. Well, for instance, this tree control I just added. Okay, it's very easy to use. I mean, I copied the interface from MFC as usual, and insert item, and these flags, a string. You could give it a string, and a tree control, as far as this editor is concerned, has various properties that you can set. You can have pictures. You see, you can have lines or not. See, if I put this on, it's got lines. You can have lines at the root or not. You could turn this off, and that goes there, which I find quite ugly. Buttons. Now these are buttons. You have to run it. These things that have little pluses are buttons. You can imagine how long it took me to build this dialog. Quite a bit. It did take some time, I have to admit. Let's see, and now there are a whole bunch of things, and I haven't tried every possible flag to see what they do. One of the things you can do that you may have noticed in life, is checkboxes. See? This is the kind of tree control where you can check something, right, or uncheck it. Or And this is something I've got to fix with my own checkbox thing. Or maybe it only, maybe those regular checkboxes don't have it, but I just noticed today. Now, is it in here or not? A checkbox usually has checked or unchecked, right? However, that's not the end of the story. A checkbox can actually have three states. Now, where is that? I don't know where it went. Track. Oh, this here, track select. You see, as I move the mouse around, it's highlighting things. If you turn that off, then you don't get the highlight. See? I like it on. One thing you can do, now all this is all built in, already built into the operating system, is edit. Edit labels. I have that on. So that means that I can click this and I can type something in here. And click well, it doesn't work here because there's no handling for it. But normally your program would handle the text change. Has lines are those little lines. Scroll lines that we scroll tooltips. Where's checkboxes? Yes, checkboxes. Where are they? Checkboxes. True or false. Well, I know it was here that I saw it. It says like three states. It might be one of the menus. Come on, where are you? Where are you? Single expand would only allow you to go one level deep. That might be useful. So, as one have buttons. This is dumb. I have no idea why you would want this behavior. Edit labels, disable drag and drop, client, check boxes. I don't know. Maybe. Anyways, I did something. What if I added a regular checkbox? A regular checkbox. Maybe that's where I saw it. Static right, push like. Notice what multi-line, low, left text icon. Horizontal flash, client, caption, bitmap. Oh, here it is. Now, this is a problem in my code, is that I have is checked or not, right? And I don't have this, I never take care of this case. So I better not make one of those. Anyway, so I added that idea to my control called PS3 Controller, and now here are all the various little functions. I haven't tried them all, but it looks a lot like a list view type thing, and you'll notice in fact that besides these H tree item handle type things, they use image lists somewhere. So I made some changes to the image lists. Here, see? Their thing returns a pointer to an image list for these functions. And I was thinking of just returning a handle to an image list, which is what the base function does. But instead I changed the TS image list class in such a way that you can copy them now. They have a reference counter. So I can just pass them around like integers. So that's all great and dandy, and my little program here to test out the tree control runs that dialog. Whoops. And randomly it'll choose whether or not to put a thing in. Okay. I had to put an extra node. Now I just happened to notice that I was working on this MSC info program, which would display the important information about a MSC Microsoft XML version, or sorry, MSC files, which are they're all in XML format. Well, I've got my XML lib there, and I got my tree now, and XMLs are pretty much tree format, so I thought I'd just throw the two together. So I declare an XML file here called XML Tree. Oh, and by the way, I also modified this object so you can copy them around like integers. They contain a type of object which has a reference counter thing. So I can pass that tree off to my dialog, not a pointer or reference or anything. And here's my dialog. Well, so first I parsed the XML data into the XML thing. If that succeeds, run the dialog, and then here's the dialog proc. Okay, now here's another tool I've had for a long time to restore and save the last position. That's important in this case because this particular one is resizable, so I want to be able to restore the previous size. Now, the XML lib is quite easy to use as far as walking. First, you get a position. You get the head position. This is just like walking a list. Alright. Now, here I'm creating a node in my M tree here, which is my new control. And now the XML data, the way I've got it set up, has three sections essentially that you can retrieve for a given node, right? Well, there's the path, okay. Data, which is all of the data between one node and another that isn't within angle brackets, okay. And then the stuff that's in angle brackets that I call attributes, okay. So there's three types of data. And the path, well, that'll be indicated on the tree. The attributes I figured I would just glue together with the path name because that's just a short string. It's in the angle brackets. And then I figured, well, I remembered, oh yeah, well, I just invented that map class, right? So for the data, I figured I'll just make a map of tree item to data. The data is in the form of a string. So, here's the entirety of the code. Get the root node. If the root exists, call traverse. Traverse. Get firstborn from root, and then now it's going to walk through the siblings. First, I get the path and extract the terminating part of the string from the last backslash and call that the item name, and add to that the attributes which I format in this way with square brackets. Then I add a node to my tree with that name from the current root, and the next one from that root, and then store the data for associated with that handled to tree item in this map. See how all these things have just come together? Now the next line here, before going on to the next sibling here, I decided to do it here, is to traverse all of the children and siblings, etc. of this particular sibling. So this calls itself again, and that's the entire loop. This here is just repositions the controls if the size changes. This is the function that formats that attribute string. I run my program, which currently, if I don't give any arguments, it takes this file, services MSC, and here it is. So this is the services MSC file. So you see this, I should put an extra space here, I think. I should have added a space. This stuff in the angle brackets are the attributes. I could put commas. But anyway, these are attributes associated with this particular node. Here's that image list thing we saw before. Favorites, no idea what it means. Scope tree, God knows. You can see that there's quite a lot of information in here, and it's all compactly sorted and put into this table for me to browse through. And since each node has one of those H node things, right? If I receive a callback from clicking on one of these things, I can retrieve the data associated with this particular node. Perhaps I could have a smaller edit box down here for the data. And then you could edit the data, or you can click on here. You could change the name of the node, or change some of its attributes if you like. Oh dear. Well, that program took me about, it didn't really take enough time to count, to write. There is no code, right? So that just followed, because the tools were already available. I didn't have to spend time trying to work out how am I going to keep track of all this stuff, right? I have map. Oh, okay, no problem. I'll use this map. XML thing is done. The tree thing is done. The handling and engagements and everything is all handled transparently. The dialogue thing, as usual. saving and restoring the coordinates is nothing. Doing this sort of resizing, resizing is nothing. And so that allows you to concentrate on actually making a program do something instead of spending all your time just trying to get the display going or something like that. So I think that that's a pretty good piece of evidence to support the idea that that when you solve some little problem, don't just let it sit there stagnant in one project and never to be used again. Put it in your toolbox, and you can be sure that one day, what's my name doing in here? You can be sure that one day it's going to come back and help you. That is strange. My name is really in here. Well, the services, I guess that's my name, yeah. But if that services was a global thing, maybe I was the last person. Oh, I know. I know why that's there. I put that there by hand, I'm pretty sure. Because in the, looking at it as text, I kept having trouble getting back to this image list. So I just put my name there so I had something to search for. Okay, that was quick, wasn't it? I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe I'll make a cool program from that. It's not like there aren't XML editors out there in the world. In fact, the world is flooded with XML editors. They're all over the place. There's even an online one. Works better than mine. Only problem is, that it bugs me. Because I'm pretty sure actually at this point that the icon data in the XML file is what's used for the picture, not those ones pointed to in sys32. And the reason is because I found a typo in one of them, and it still shows the right icon, but it's for its icon path, it's like D Windows something, right? And mine would be on C drive. So I believe these are actually the icons. It's got this thing, show XPath. I have no idea what that means, and it makes me think that maybe this thing could tell me where to start reading the data, right? Because it doesn't work out. It doesn't count to a multiple of 4, and so there's something extra that I gotta cut off, and then maybe save it, and then I would get an icon. I know those are icons. I mentioned before that I found a BM in those files, and BM means bitmap, and I copied the data from the BM, and one of the things I did was I took one of those BM things, okay, And it was like this, a picture like this, but it had a whole bunch of them and it was all squished. Then I went into Paint Shop Pro and cut out the extra ones and just saved it. Okay, now these two, so with just a bitmap file, now this is the same, this here is the same information. In fact, it's indicating the same picture, but it's not an icon, or else you would see the picture here. But these are, I'm pretty sure, icon files. And so, using just a regular image editor and the data within one of those XML MSC files, I was able to actually create an icon file, the format of which I do not know. Nobody seems to want to say. See you again.